Hi, how's it in the name of Christ? How you doing? It's your girl Crancake Karabo. Surprise, surprise. I hope you're good. I hope you're peachy. I hope you're stellar. And I hope you're in a neat little bunch. I'm all together, whatever. Couldn't really figure it out until I figured it out. My heart is broken. But like, my heart is always broken. So, that's a thing. Amen. But the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and he binds up their wounds. So, hallelujah. My hyperpigmentation is taking too long to fade and it's really getting to me, but whatever. I am going to heaven. I think that's clear. Those of you who mock Jesus, like when the evidences are walking at you that, there is a God, and then you don't go out like that, let the rapture violate you, catch you off guard. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Let's just put some caveats out there, okay? Violence on the earth. Men's hearts are filling them with violence on the earth. Because the human heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked, and that's just so uneasy. And that's why my captions are inaccurate. I've got these captions that sometimes are misplaced. No, they're in the exact perfect spot. They're just not rightly spelled, and they are also not rightly communicative of what I'm actually trying to say, so they use the wrong word. Like, it's all different kinds of weird stuff, but I like them there because they add to the aesthetics of my ministry. My very excellent ministry, seeing as it's coming from the excellent one on high. Amen. Okay, so we keep them there. We leave them around. One day, people are going to be editing them, so all the best team of editors that I recruited by simply getting raptured. Look who's talking now. Hey? Like a baby. You know that movie? Look who's talking now. It's me, even though you didn't like my voice at first. I made it in the sky. And now you're editing my captions because you want to. Because you're just happy to volunteer support to a saint in heaven. Because you did not like her when she was walking these streets. So, welcome to Team Jesus. Working in this big corporate building in a shack. Where it is that you've been employed by the startup lady running a small to medium business that eventually became like a whole massive empire because I went to heaven. You know when you don't appreciate people because they're in your streets? You're gonna end up doing their captions when once upon a time everybody was teaming at the folds trying to do yours. Anyway, whatever. Let's put out there another caption. I've got this sunscreen that's just unruly, but it doesn't matter because everything in my life is unruly. Everything is unruly. So of course my sunscreen is white cast and it causes my eyebrows to be gray. I try to walk away but I choke. I try to say goodbye and I choke. Try to walk away and I stumble. And I try to hide it, it's clear. My world crumbles when you're not here. Yeah, people try to make that my life by giving me sunscreen that's white cast, and acne that just keeps being all up in my ground, and hyperpigmentation that just doesn't fade. Yeah, and said, look, if you just took my thing in your stride that I'm doing, girl, your life ain't gonna spice. They don't have to be that hard. And so, yeah, seeing as you made me sing that silly song, I try to say goodbye and I choke. Try to walk away and I stumble. And I try to hide it, it's clear. My world crumbles when you are not here. Which is not true. Like, I don't even like you. But nah, you have a magic wand. Anyway, whatever. It is what it is, we'll just deal. Because that's just what we do. So we got that sunscreen gawking at you. Even if there's application makeup on top of it, you can still see the white cast. Like even in these edges and peripheries. No, there's nothing I can do. My world crumbles when you are not here. Goodbye and I choke. Whatever. Okay, new team members out here doing even sign language interpretation to a lady without manners or decorum because she blows her nose in front of some people. She also burps sometimes. Cause who under heaven is she trying to be all genteel for? Yeah, that's how I check if I took out all the snot. Ah, there's another caveat coming at you. Look at my nose. It just got so red. Yeah, guys, okay, like, it's totally true that I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. So stop taking chances with me, okay? I got blushed cheeks evidencing that I am human. But don't nobody care. But you will, very soon. Anyway, whatever. I try to tell you, try to warn you, try to put it out there, but don't nobody care. But like I said, soon, you will. Anyway, and then I'm wearing application makeup because it is what it is. I may or may not be wearing, listen, okay, like this sunscreen, it's like proper, like it's there. You can see it. Blend, blend, blend. I think that worked. Did it? Well, I mean, look, my forehead is big. And somebody put it out there that you have a big head. And then he tried to marry me by force after telling me I have a big head. Those are your husbands out here dropping random bombs in your girl, and you still getting married because see me see trouble, when are you gonna marry me, oh? See me see trouble, you best to marry me, oh. See, we've been dating for many years now, you want to leave me for lobola. See me see trouble, you gon' marry me, oh. Today, that's you ladies out here in these streets rushing to get married to men who keep telling you that your head is big. Dude, it might be big, but you don't get to say that and still be my husband. Anyway, whatever. I'm wearing app makeup. It keeps bouncing up and down, so look out for that. And when it does that, it's only because that's like, you know, basically, I'm about to get like this incorruptible body. Okay? This incorruptible body is like totally like if you, like nothing happens to it when you bomb it. It just comes back and it's like, but why did you do that? Yeah. And given that I'm about to inherit an incorruptible body, but like I don't have one yet, I've got this like app makeup that acts like the Holy Spirit, who basically makes war with this body of death, trying to make us all pretty. Yeah. While we actually just real ugly on the inside. Nasty. So there's like a whole Roman 7 war going on where you like always punching the body of death by the Holy Spirit, putting to death the deeds of the body. And if you conquer, you out your popping makeup, but it keeps falling off like my app makeup. Yeah. Cause like we can't help but sin. Know what I'm saying? But you know that you're born again when you actually make war with that sin. So this app makeup is sort of kind of what happens with the Holy Spirit when he's in us. He makes us pretty, but everybody knows that you still got that fallen flesh, girl. It ain't real, but one day it's just gonna be all beautiful without a glitch. Watch the space. Watch it. Watch it. Watch it like an earthquake. Watch it like the weather. We're done, okay? We're not doing this anymore, but like it appears we are. Like I'm still here. You know, I was wondering. I was living dangerous. I'm very concerned about children. They're basically the spawn of Satan now. And I'm like, it's only because I didn't get to them first, you know? Yeah. And I was like, okay, look, maybe I can look Karabo. Like, come on. No need to be all, you know, dystopian, futureless. Girl, like, oh. I mean, there's really no need to just stay in that mold because, I mean, fine. So, like, you're basically 40 with no husband, no children. But you belong to Jesus, you know? So, I mean, Sarah done had them babies in, like, her 90s. Like, these things actually being possible. So, I mean, look out for your Isaac. Look out for your man. Like, hey, it's coming. And I was like, you know what, y'all? Even if I was to look out for the man, and therefore thereafter the like, Isaac, the babies in my, like, geriatric years, herein lies the deal. This is still the earth, yo. Like, this, whoa. Like, I apologize. Please, somebody let me throw an apology out there. I apologize. Oh, believe me, I do. I threw that one out there. like a soccer ball landing on like a goalkeeper's head, like boo. And then they go inside the net, and it's like a scored game because the soccer ball like threw the goalie in there. Okay, so like slam dunk. Yeah, we're still here. Like that's the issue. Like it's about the 21st century, yo. It's not even about the miracles of Jesus and stuff like that, because I mean, like that's always going to be a thing. But like when the earth is frankly like a scorched earth, but without the policy, because ain't nobody here got no manners. Like there's no policies, there's no rules, there's no regulations. It's just anarchy, boot. Like 24 hours a day, it's a purge. And when that's the situation and the circumstance, and my nose is itchy, ooh, I mean, goodness, like, whoa, like, yeah, whoa, like, what? Only in the 21st century, like, your nose is itching in the middle of important work. Ugh, come on, like, what is that? Oh, anyway, whatever, I don't have decorum. I don't even shave my underarms anymore, because, like I said, it's the apocalypse, okay? Like, it's over, everything is bombing outside. Like, I promise you, if you were to look outside, there'd be molten lava everywhere. I'm just immune to molten lava. So everybody else is like scorched by it, but I'm still out here living because it's like a zombie apocalypse or something. So I've got an inflammable body. I've got a body that's inflammable. It's unbelievable how inflammable I am. Not flammable, just inflammable. I don't burn. Yeah, but some days I feel like I'm burning. So everybody outside is all burnt, you know, molten lava crisp. That's what's good, and I'm the only person living. I mean, even though you've got those superpowers, it doesn't really help to be all by yourself, walking and even swimming because you're that immune to molten lava. Like when everybody else is dead, I'm sorry, there's no earth. I apologize whether or not my children have been given gene therapy to survive heat, because mama done escaped heat and so too did daddy. When you're living in an like ice cube of a planet, I apologize. I don't want it. Take it. Grab it. Run with it. You can have it, you take it. You can touch it, you can have your earth. It's like that basic, okay? Because listen, alright? I don't know. If you don't listen, you don't have to. But guess what? You're gonna eventually. Like, I just happened upon a seance. Like, I was just walking around in the park the other day, and I was all peaceful, and the next thing, bah, there's like a seance right there. That's how my life is. It's like I'm just taking strolls in the park, and then bah, I happen upon seances, and you can't just walk into a seance and be left alone. It's like walking into a drug deal in the middle of a whole bunch of like gangsters, kingpins and everything, like Gotham City stuff, and expect those gangsters to let you go. So I'm dying because I just so happen to be like dilly-dallying, prancing around, strolling in like a no-go zone because it's got like criminals everywhere. South Africa, like you can't go to the park without bumping into a witch. Can't go to the gym without bumping into one. Can't go to the store without bumping into one. You can't go to the clubhouse in your complex without bumping into one. Yo, it's literally everywhere. They live among us. So I'm always walking into seances having not planned it, because who in the world plans on walking into a whole demonic ritual on a stroll? Like who? Nobody. It's not like I planned to bust y'all all naked on top of like a cauldron. It's not what I planned to do, but it happened, guys. And because I busted some witches doing some spells, because I walked into a seance while walking the dog, I'm now like Julia Roberts in the Pelican Brief or something. Like, I'm like John Wick with a contract assassination bounty on my head. Like, everybody trying to knock me out because I found out I was just walking the dog. I started out crying, but it just doesn't help anymore. It does nothing for you to do that. Tears, schmears, like proper cry schmai. Don't nobody care. And given that you're now this like thing that's like, you know, the murder of joy, the damper of a step in like some pretty diabolical people's knees. Now you gotta die. Now you gotta die. When I told you South Africa. You be out here pushing your baby in a stroller, in a pulley, a pushy. What do you call those things? Like pram? And they gonna kill you and your baby just in case that baby grows up and by hypnotic therapy they remember. They be out here murdering your entire family because you done bust them in a seance. Presence of someone that I apologize. Like, nah, they're destructive and they're full of murder and psychosis and like, ain't nobody safe. And I've been saying that like for a minute. So I'm out here coming up with all different kinds of like scenario, you know? Scenario planning in my head. Like, it's just going and going and going. Like a washing machine. Vong, 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 vong. That's the scenario. ruminating in my brain, and I'm looking at this scenario and I'm like, what if I got a future anyway? I mean, like, is it so hard to fathom? Come on, like, it's probably possible. So I'm doing edits, as you can tell. It's like I can leave, I can fly. Whew! If I just break my whoa. Then again, these gangsters got rifles shooting birds in the sky even when they're flying, so I mean, forget it. R. Kelly, it's why he's in prison. Yeah, that song was unsustainable in the 21st century. Given that don't nobody who gets busted, literally chicken skin and everything exposed, in the bushes during a seance, be leaving the person who done busted them alone. And I'm like, you know what? Fine. So I did ask for the spiritual gift to see. I was like, Lord, it would be great. And then the Lord gave me the gift, and now I am literally being targeted. And gotta get John Wick. I don't want to be Keanu Reeves. I'm out here walking these streets like Keanu. Oh my goodness, people are walking outside like Keanu, alright? That's the cranky. And then people be out here following me everywhere. I don't have the energy of Keanu Reeves to just keep running away from bounty people, trying to collect some bounty, whatever that even means. Contract assassination, kill him first and get $1 million. What is it even worth? That's the thing. The $1 million that you stand to gain is from the fact that you don't get busted out here in these strata. And so you keep on getting, like, you know, ill-gotten gain. Like, your countries have been laid waste to destitute. It's a tornado, a volcano, some kind of an eruption that has just, like, flourished in the sky.
So in Creche,
no, it has just flourished in the sky, you guys. And don't nobody actually call it off for what it is. I apologize.
Never mind, boy.
Like, thoroughly. Like, I'm sorry. I got remorse for even thinking that this place is out here survivable. Like, I'm like just overwhelmed by guilt, lots of sorrow, lots of remorse for actually thinking this earth is a doable thing. Like, I'm sorry. Crime state vibes. I don't want to be a criminal, so I guess, you know, wiping us out is a thing. But thank goodness I belong to Jesus, right? So I was actually scenario planning this afternoon and this morning. Like, yeah, I was watching so much content on the tube machine about these, like, sterilizing kids. They out here cricketing up like no man's business. They're like bending into some ominous anomalous orb that's not quite looking like what it is that society's supposed to look like. And I'm like, I'm sorry, this is the generation of take the mark of the beast without even fighting it. And there's no such thing in the Bible. So if at all you create like a whole bunch of mindless drones out of children, nah, I'm sorry, something's gotta stop it, right? Like, cause only, like, there's actually a remnant in the end that like is like, nah. There's a remnant in the end that doesn't take the mark of the beast. They're like, no thank you. Okay, they're like, nah, we're not doing it. Yeah, but if this earth continues to go and go and go and go and go and go, y'all need to understand Gen Alpha babies. Like, babies of the Gen Alpha, so what would that be, like Gen Beta? Yeah, the Gen Beta babies are going to all take the mark of the beast. All of them. Like, they're all gonna take it. There's not even gonna be an exception. There ain't gonna be no remnant. Like, y'all need to get that. Like, right now in the Gen Zs, there's a remnant. I can see it. In the Gen Alpha, there will likely also be a remnant, but in decreasing measure. There is a remnant among the Millennials. Hey, look at me. Ek's a remnant. I'm a remnant. Yeah, there was a remnant in Gen X, baby boomers, etc., but the remnant of the previous generation has always been larger than the remnant of the present generation. Like, come on, guys. It's the sliding scale. Y'all know that's a thing? Come on. Don't be out here lying to a sister. I don't know. It's not necessary to tell these fibs. They're not necessary. Let's just keep it real with the truth. We know that religion is dwindling all across the world. Like, proper. Christianity is just flying out the window. People be out here mocking us for praying. Like, what in the world are you doing? Yeah, less and less of these babies are embracing Christ. More and more of them are growing up with millennial parents that just don't make no sense. Those millennial parents of which rejected the religion of their families, of their moms and their dads. So their kids are more, you know, damaged than they ever could be. And this is just happening, like, in increasing measure. People don't hold to a biblical view of Christianity as they used to. And kids are cynical about Christ in the worst way. And it's like, I apologize, I'm sorry. There's only going to be a remnant of Gen Alpha getting saved. Less even than Gen Z. Less even than Millennials. Because why am I the only millennial in my, like, entire 10,000 kilometer radius? Why? That's born again. Somebody answer me, please. I need to know. Why out of all of me, How many times do I have to tell you? Even when you're in church, you're an apostate too. The world keeps singing some praises in your ears, even though you're lost. You're the sunshine of the occult, even though in Sunday you are in church. The Lord keeps saying that your prayers are an abomination too. Your heads are underwater, even though you think you've got crowns. And you're sleeping in occult drugs, even though you call yourself Mzalwan. And so all of you is going to hell with all of them, because you're all blind guides leading each other into the eternal abyss. But there's only a small number of you that have embraced the true gospel, and we are so incredibly battered. Everybody keeps on slapping us, because now all of you are persecuting all of a few of us. Seriously speaking, that's what's going on. Why am I the only millennial out of all my friends, all my family members that are my, generation that's saved? That I know. Yo, I don't know nobody saved. I just don't. Not anybody that's truly saved anyway. Just like that? I'm a remnant. Uncomfortable as that might be. Majakatata, like I told you guys, that's what my content is. People are to be consuming it with difficulty. Yeah, what? I am so rare that I'm the only person that I've ever known in a Christian country that's actually truly saved. Everybody else is lost, like y'all. I'm willing to bet on it, except by the time I get to win that money, I'll be in heaven, so I mean really keep it. After all, it's going to be a quarter wheat for a denarius, and a day's wages for a loaf of bread. Do not harm the oil and the wine, so you're going to need all the money. You're going to really need to be holding on to those rands and cents. You need them. Hold on to those rands and cents, because soon you're going to be eating your bread with carefulness and drinking your water with astonishment. Just hold on to your rands and cents. Keep them. But I am willing to bet on the fact that I'm the only Christian I know, and the only Christian that everyone that knows me knows. Why? Because I'm gonna be the only one going in the rapture. Out of all of you. Had this ridiculous dream when my friends from high school were out here trying to talk to me like it's actually negotiable what they're into, because they imagine that they're somewhat content or cool with Christ. Yeah, with the darkness that they're walking in, all of them are little witches, and none of them have ever repented. None of them have ever given their lives to Christ. But they think the day is feasibly gonna arrive when we can all just beg to differ or discuss doctrine, when they don't know God from a bar of soap, but they want to act like they're cool with Christ because they've never really truly surrendered. Only thing that's going to prove to my friends that all of you have never been saved is if I literally go by myself. And that's gonna happen. It's probably gonna happen. Cannot be getting immersed amidst the people that are just gonna patronize the living daylights out of me by telling me I'm saved. Don't judge me. Okay? I don't gotta be the one to judge you, sister girl. Here and lost the deal. Voop, caught up in the sky. Look who's standing now on a dying earth. It's you. Yeah, well, we just gotta go home. It's the only thing that's gonna open the eyes of the millennials that they destroyed Gen Z, Alpha, and Beta. Even though Beta is only gonna start getting born next year, I realized that people... Hey guys, how do you do that? Come on, let's discuss why it is that the world is over. I'm a millennial. Very entry level of millennials, right? I was born in the beginning stages of millennialism. Millennial kids. Apparently they're from 1980 or whatever. Or 1979 or whatever, going all the way into some other funny years down the line, 1995, I don't know, somewhere down there. Okay. So I'm basically a legacy millennial. Yeah, one of those old ones, the geriatric millennials. So we shall call ourselves the Jetrennials, the geriatric millennials. If you don't want to be called a geriatric millennial, just call yourself a youthful Gen X. It'll be better that way. Okay, very well. With being then a geriatric millennial, I ought have some Gen Alpha children, and if at all I was a teenage pregnancy, maybe I might even have some Gen Z children. That's what's good. And yet here it is that apparently Gen Alpha ends in 2024. Guys, this is the last year for Gen Alpha to be born. What are you doing? It's the last year. It's 2024. Apparently this is the end of Gen Alpha. So I imagine if anything goes by, if I'm gonna work with chronology here, it's likely like gonna be beta then delta or whatever coming. But we're not gonna talk about delta yet, but it's definitely beta that's coming. So Gen Beta is gonna be born in 2025. That's what's good. Karabo is like, what? Beginning stages of millennial, so I'm the geriatric millennial. Yeah, and yet I don't have a Gen Z child, neither do I have a Gen Alpha child, because people saw it fit to coerce the living daylights out of me to settle, seeing as I wanted children. I wanted to be a mom. I was so absolutely besotted with the prospect. I was. And they were like, girl, you don't got to miss that bus if you don't wanna. There's plenty of manhood in these streets that you can just go and pick from to impregnate yourself. Really, it's not that deep. They are all healthy, seed-bearing males. Just pick one. And I'm like, okay, look, I'm waiting on Jesus Christ for a husband. And frankly, I insist on being married before we go and utilize one such seedling. And, yeah, till then, we are just not going to be fornicating. And they were like, how dare you over my particular dead body that you should come here with your self-righteous, holier-than-thou, snooty personality and tell me that I am going to be just some baby mama while you're a wife? No, I know some spells. And so they like lingered me in parentlessness, motheringness, in emptiness, just a void of childlessness. And I'm like, but I wanted children since I was 23. Only thing that stayed me from having one was because I was not married. Last time I checked, that was a sober thing to think. It was okay, it was sound, it was good, it was wholesome to not want to be popping babies for some baby daddy who's not my husband. So why is the person making the right decisions now sort of kind of spat on, as with hydrochloric acid on skin? Why am I the one burning here? Why are you sprinkling sulfur and brimstone on me like I'm Sodom? Somebody please explain to me why. Good is being called evil and evil is being called good. I'd like to know why bitter is sweet and sweet is bitter. Gen Alpha, please answer that, seeing as you're underperforming for your age. You need to answer me that, at least that. Why is old being called young and young being called old, and why is blue being called purple and purple blue? I need to understand what is with the disrespect of truth over here. And Gen Alphas are going to be like, because what's coming out of their vocal cords is artificial intelligence, because that's all they can gawk out 24 hours a day on those tablets of theirs that their millennial parents bought them in order to replace their parenting. So granted that Gen Alpha can't answer why I don't have children, and granted that Gen Z are just too busy doing strange things on TikTok to even recognize that I'm suffering, millennials then are to answer me, why am I supposed to just go and have sex anywhere? Just have the babies I've always wanted, when it's generally accepted, at least historically, at the very beginning of my particular generation, that it's ideal to be married before you have babies, and really and truly, if you can raise them in church and the admonition of the Lord, even better. Why is that not even a thing anymore? Because it wasn't broken. Why are you trying to fix it? And the millennials are like, no, because I said so. It is no wonder your children are like, unable to answer basic questions in school, because you've given them artificial intelligence in their voice boxes and they've reached singularity, so they can't have a single unique idea that comes from Jesus in their hearts, because demons are always talking to them through their millennial parents and their Gen Z parents. So this is what we're gonna do. Lament. We're just gonna complain a lot, okay, about the fact that I am out here being a very entry-level geriatric millennial. That's what's good. Having literally missed the bus of having Gen Alpha children. Oh, who's shocked? Guys, this is a shock. It's just so incredibly shocking. I'm so shocked. I'm like shocked because, yeah, I'm shocked. I just recently discovered that I missed the bus of being the mom of some Gen Alpha kids, because Gen Alpha is literally coming to an end in 2024. So I'm gonna have Gen Beta pay babies. Gen Beta babies as a millennial. What unfortunate souls are those babies gonna be? Like, how in the world do I have kids 2 generations down, like a grandmother giving birth to children that are like, her kids, instead of like grandparents or whatever? I was supposed to be the grandparents of Gen Beta. Grandparent. My husband and I, my sister and I had a pact. Anyway, sorry, I bet you can tell I've watched Chicago. I haven't always been righteous. Listen, I'm supposed to be the grandparent of Gen Beta, not mother. But if at all I were to have babies, I would end up being the mother of a Gen Beta baby. And these randos have not yet been born. And if their predecessors are out Gen like, because there's like an electromagnetic frequency in their throats, given that they're not real throats, they're AI manufactured. Yeah, what's gonna become of my Gen Alpha? Nah, Creche and Beta. What's gonna become of my Gen Beta babies? Like, what is gonna happen when I'm out here giving birth to some Gen Beta babies if Gen Alpha is already like in school? Disrespectful, unruly, unmanageable, causing teachers to quit all over the planet. I need to understand. Anyway, whatever. So that's the level of unacceptability that I'm gawking at, that if at all I want to wait on Jesus Christ for everything I've ever desired, I can just dream on about getting it on time. I can just dream on about basically being a millennial mom of a Gen Z or a Gen Alpha. I gotta be a millennial mom of a Gen Beta. I'm not feeling being a 50-year-old mom of a 2-year-old, 4-year-old little baby girl. Cause girl, I ain't gonna have no energy for you. But that's what you all are doing. Are you not? Because you're telling yourselves, Karabo, literally all this biological clock ticking thing that you've been doing right now. Like, it didn't have to happen that way. There's just so much seed just rolling around in these streets, gawking at you, spawning all up in your ground, petitioning for your hand. They've been trying to win you. It doesn't matter, fine. So they might be luring you in with like a noose called Karabo, but it's still seed. And you've got an egg. That's what these Gen Alpha randos are trying to tell me. Not Alpha, Millennials. That's what these geriatric Millennials are telling me. They're telling me that unless you listen to what we say, you can forget about a Gen Z baby. It's already sailed that ship. And you can also forget about a Gen Alpha baby, because it appears it's sailing this year and you still ain't pregnant, are ya? It's January, girl. There's still time to make a Gen Alpha baby. 9 months pregnancy, it's only Jan. Chalete ka pa libokisi. It's okay, kitlang ka libokisi. It's that basic. I'll take my chances with giving birth to Gen Beta, but that's just the thing. If at all I were to give birth to Gen Beta, because finally, some millennial popped up out of like the word works and was like, hi, what's up? I've also been buried in a little bit of a hole, but I love the Lord, and it's just been a thing for a minute. However, I have yes, excuse me? What's up, I'm back. I was distracted. I forgot where I was at, but I might find my not might, I will find my bearings again. And I'm hot. Like, there's just been a lot of heat from walking up and down. I was talking about how it is that I am a millennial, a geriatric millennial, and it's unacceptable for a geriatric millennial instead of like a late stage millennial, like someone born in 1994 or something, or 1995 or something, to be having Gen Beta babies. It's unacceptable. Like, it's just absolutely unacceptable. But I've been put in a position to have Gen Beta babies. But one might be like, Karabo, better late than never, girl. Better late than never. And those that made it late for me to have these Generation Beta babies, the issue is them. The issue is the climate. It's the earth. It's this environment. It's the fact that your Gen Alphas are already with artificial intelligent vocal cords, given that they appear to lack autonomy apart from devices. And it is the fact that Gen Beta is inevitably going to be worse. Just inevitably. They are inevitably going to be worse. And so, what am I going to do with the only child in the universe, you guys? Seeing as I'm the only millennial in my particular universe that's born again. What in the world is the only child in that particular universe gonna do that does not have artificial intelligence vocal cords when their larynx, like the larynx of like the next door neighbor's kid, is out on some and it's inaudible and illegible as to what's being spoken there, nor written, and like there's just no end to the defeatism of Gen Z now, right? Never mind millennials. The defeatism of their Gen Z parents, guys. Like, just the inevitability of the defeatism of the older generation that's just going to be basically throwing children under the bus. I'm sorry, millennials, you have destroyed the babies. You've busted a cap in the knee of the children. You have thrown a bomb in a creche. Millennials, it's what you've done. You've nuked an OBGYN hospital. You've nuked a pediatric hospital. You've nuked pediatric hospitals in the world. Millennials, you have destroyed children, do you not see? In ways that are unfathomable, in ways that their predecessors just never did. You have literally made it impossible for teachers to take kids in their stride. You have nuked creches. Millennials, my generation, you've nuked the children. In a way, single-handedly, like in a way that nobody else has. Because you just threw them in the cradling, coddling, swaddling arms of robots, of your immorality, of your apostasy, of your lack of regard for truth. And in so being the first to spearhead that rubbish, have utterly decimated Generation Alpha. And of course Gen Zs, but Gen Zs, thankfully, there are fractions of them that are still sober. There are Gen Zs that basically saw it for what it is, and there are Gen Zs that had parents like me. What's good? Yeah. Enough of them to be, to basically resist. And seeing as Gen Zs are the, what should one call this thing? They are they're the next baby boomers. Like, they're basically the next generation to be having a whole bunch of children. Gen Zs are the next batch of parents, because millennials are currently basically tapering off and being parents. So Gen Zs are the next batch. And with Generation Z children, or not children, adults now, being the next batch of parents, however, they are producing less quality offspring with each new generation, because with each new generation, there's literally been less moral quality in people. Each new generation has produced less moral quality, each one. So Gen Zs are, like I said, and millennials, they are presently, or have been the past couple of years, popping some Gen Alpha babies. They've been doing that. Millennials are about to be done popping those babies, except for a remnant like Karabo, who's actually about to like pop a Gen Beta, for crying out loud. Gen Zs are gonna pop the Gen Betas, the majority of them. And if at all, the Gen Zs are already so watered down in morality, in Christian Judeo principles. What is going to become of Gen Beta? Millennials have delegated their parenting responsibilities to teachers, as do a lot of parents all throughout history. They have been delegating their parent responsibilities to teachers. What is happening here? Why am I scratchy itchy? What did I ever do to deserve this? I didn't deserve this. I did not deserve this. I don't know what I did. Look, I'm so red there. It's just an undeserved irritation. Much like being bewitched when I didn't have it coming. Anyway, whatever. That was a booyah in your girl. If Generation Alpha, there's just so much movement outside. Like, I can't deal, like, so much distraction. I can't take it. If Generation Alpha, okay, now, if Gen Zs, I'm gonna find my bearings again because I'm so distracted. If Gen Alpha is out here giving birth to, like, the last bit of if Gen Zs are out here giving birth to the last bit of Gen Alpha, and they will inevitably give birth to the biggest batch of Gen Betas that are coming on the scene, what did I do? I don't deserve this. Yeah. Then you can therefore trust that society is just going to continue to decline, given that Gen Z is currently the most truth-hating generation of all time because of millennials that decided to walk away from the truth they knew when they were on the come up, in favor of just this like weird classist politics and this weird leftist politics and this weird disregard of like total proven fact, like total proven, like just absolutely like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not taking it. No, what do you mean? You're not gonna take it? It's a fact. Like, what in the world? Like, must we just eradicate certain words from the dictionary because they can no longer be relevant in a society full of so much tolerance that they're literally tolerating even flagrant lies? It's dastardly. It's dastardly, okay? That's what it is. So, parents all throughout the generations, there's the bearings, I found them again. They've been delegating parenting to teachers. They've been doing that for a minute. My own mom did it. Like, Papa, I kid you not. These parents, all throughout the ages, have done one thing in common so that you can understand. So, like, there is this, like, saying, I know I'm all over the show. I'm finally going to get to a point. Like, trust that. I'm that girl. Stick with me and you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay. There is this, like, saying by Plato. If anything, I'm actually looking for it. I'm not gonna find it. I guess I'm a fool. And this little device is a wannabe, and we don't do wannabes in this world. We're a Barbie girl in a Barbie world, wrapped in plastic. It's not fantastic. Whatever, like, just whatever. Okay, if I try to use the computer up there, it's gonna be like Rob's, but you know that I don't do that. Like, I just don't respond on time. It's just not what I do. So why exactly are we trying? Listen, just work with me, computer, ne? Ooh, there we go. You know when the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ is just hanging out with you all day long, and you're enabled in ways that you fathomed you could never be enabled, and then it's like, ooh, I'm enabled, ooh, and you celebrate, and just, ooh, and then somebody comes and grabs like a very cold glass of icy water and just puts, you know, that on your fire, and then you're crying all of a sudden, and it's just so disturbing, right? So I'm looking at, no, you know what? Apparently, allegedly, every generation, about generations, I just want to see if I can find the actual, like, statement by this philosopher. Like, I don't deserve this. I don't, you know? Like, I don't. Children. Am I all over the show? Hang with me. Y'all know I do a thing eventually, even when somewhere along the way I appear to be derailing like an old train. And a steam one, like just a train. Okay, we've done what we needed to do. We're finished with the train. The train is like choo-choo, now it's moving. Apparently every generation has been plagued by random rubbish. Indeed, that's been true. I mean, when I was a kid, I couldn't stand the grown-ups, and then when I grew up, I was like, oh, God, where are they coming from? That's what's good. So Plato had a similar mindset, and Plato was like in, like, what, 4th century BC, or whatever, and the dude had the same sort of kind of notions, like dwelling and ruminating these bones, where he wrote, Plato was heard to remark, what is happening to our young people? They disrespect their elders, they disobey their parents, they ignore the law, they riot in the streets, inflamed with wild notions. Hallelujah, amen, Plato. But like, aren't you from like long ago? Yeah, that's just the thing, he's from long ago. And so because Plato's like from 20 million years ago, everybody's like, oh, well, it's always been like that, girl. Like, papa, it's literally always been like that, so I don't even know why you're trying to make it a thing. What's with the diss? Like, girl, do you not recognize that you're absolutely the one here that's mistaken? They're gonna straighten up and fly, right? They're gonna be better. They're gonna be better. Just like, yeah, everybody eventually snaps out of rubbish. That's why some of your obedient and disorderly peers are doctors today, okay? Here's this person giving me a squint now. That's permanent. What if I did not bounce back out of that? I need to stop doing that with my eyes. You guys. Apparently it's always been like that for a minute, but herein lies the deal. For a minute. For a minute indeed. Lord, let's just put that out there with a drum roll. Grrr. Human individuals that are parents have always been irresponsible with the way they raise children. Why? Because they've always delegated the responsibility of teaching children to society. They always have. If you think about the former schools, the early schools, like way back in the day, like long ago, as in like decades, like centuries, like millennia, like thousands of thousands, like far away in the past. If you think about that, the very beginning of essentially like education, children are not being taught by what you might call this, like schools. What in the world was that? Like, goodness, like stop. Like organized education? Whoa. What are you doing? Yeah, no, kids were taught at home. Kids were taught at home by parents. The boys would automatically just follow whatever dad is doing, and the girls would follow whatever it is that mom is doing. And if at all that society was largely pious or godly, or let's just say moral, because many societies across the world have not always been religious, but sometimes just moral. In other words, ain't nobody out here having sex before marriage, please, gross, what are you doing? In other words, ain't nobody out here just throwing expletives every single way around when they talk. Ain't nobody here out here trying to drink alcohol, what are you doing? Ain't nobody else. A lot of societies were largely moral, even though they were irreligious. And that morality was just passed down. It was handed down like a little baton. Yes, and girl children automatically were reared in a particular way, otherwise it would be societally deplorable for them to do a different thing. If you want to be a prostitute, seeing as that's the oldest profession, do you, little girl, but you're going to be looked down on for the rest of your life. So they didn't choose the profession prostitution if at all. They were raised right by their moms and dads. If they grew up in that family that was a nuclear family with a mom and dad basically being responsible for what it is that they were supposed to do. They also did not complain about their roles. They did not lament about what they're supposed to do. They understood their demarcation between boys and girls, and that this is what we learn and this is what we don't. training and education happened in those villages, in those little towns, in those little squares, from families, from moms, from dads. They did not collectively take these girls and put them all in one school. They also did not collectively take these boys and put them all in one school. They didn't do that. They had babies and then were like, okay, so what are we going to do with this little human? Let's teach this little human to be just like me. And if mom was somewhat moral, that's what's good in the hood. So while kids did play with each other, they were taught by their parents, and so tended to be more fearful, do you understand what I'm saying, of their parents than they were of other children, and also of what other adults thought, and also the collective thought of the adults in the reside. The collective thought of the, okay, come on, just press, I want you to press. The collective thought of the grown-ups, just press. The collective thought of the grown-ups was usually generally the same in that ecosystem, in that village, in that environment. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, if they all were growing up in this little graliki together, the men tended to have the same mindset, and the women tended to have the same mindset, and that's how they could all be friends, all be together. But they did not teach children collectively. They did not put them in clumps, in classrooms, and say A, B, C, D, and they sang one song like a choir, and that was it. They played with each other, but just in terms of learning wrong and right and how to be in society, that was handed down by parents. I'm getting to a point. Parents, therefore, were historically very, very incredibly responsible, 100%, for how their kids turned out, for discipline in their children, for what their kids knew or don't know. Parents were responsible for training their children how to live. It is written in God's word, teach a child in the way that he or she should go. And when he or she is old, of course the Bible says he, so we'll stick to the he. What is with the noise on the outside? Teach a child in the way that he should go, and when he's older, he will not depart from it. My point exactly, Ajay, in these streets. Right, yeah. These children were taught in the way that they should go by who? Their parents. Parents of which had to basically find their own moral compass and employ it based on observation as to what makes sense or what doesn't in society. And so that's how you got all these coherent civilizations that were just doing a better thing than not. Yeah. When you're responsible for raising your own child, you will also not want to be humiliated, embarrassed by an unruly rando baby. And so for those reasons, you are going to go out of your way to enforce that discipline. You're not going to delegate, for crying out loud, your training of this individual to be whatever or whomever it is that you want them to be, because that's just going to be humiliating for you, for crying out loud. If at all this kid just turns out a real gangster, like if this child comes out on the other side like some messed up dough out of some messed up oven that was not supposed to do a messed up thing but it's doing it, like, yo, you gonna be somebody out, you're gonna get humiliated. Like, let's just not do that. So parents prided themselves in their sons and daughters because they were emulations of them, examples, extensions of them, and everything that these kids do, everybody knew where it started. Ain't nobody out there be confused as to where this kid done learned this from. So if this child is out here swearing, everybody knew that it's the dad. And so they could like nicely blame the dad or the mom. Everybody knew that whatever is going on inside these kids had to have started in the household, because where else could it come from? There was a time when children had nowhere else to go but just bask under their moms and dads' general ideas of how to do life. So you knew when a kid was just being raised by just these two derelicts, these miscreants, these absolute randos, when this child turned out random. And so in order that you might not be humiliated as a parent, you would make sure that your child does not act random and so embarrass you. You gotta teach this kid better. They gotta learn stuff from you. Where else they gonna get it from? This kid is not even gonna learn how to walk or crawl or even sneeze if you don't teach them how to do it. So whenever a kid was well-mannered, everybody was like, oh, you raised them well. You know that whole thing? You raised them well. Oh, I see where you got that from. You've always been so decorous. Ooh, I've always loved the way that you bake queen's cakes. It is no wonder your daughter is the queen's cake queen of the village. Lovely, ma'am. But if your child is this like no-brainer, then you're gonna be the no-brainer. Humiliation is your middle name now, isn't it? Look at you go, look at you go, look at you go, you go. So I'm doing edits back there just in case you were wondering. Don't be frustrated by my activity. Very well. Now that we've put that out there, okay, look, I have to think here. Which one did I use? How did I just get out of that without even checking? Oh, guys, I can't multitask. Hey, like everything in my life is just so hard. Did I go for that? No, I went for that. I'm doing edits just in case you were wondering, and it was just like sitting banked on your head with a lot of like confusion and sorrow. Understand that that's what I'm actually doing. Don't be confused, don't be sorrowful, except you should be. I mean, if you're not saved, if you're not born again, and you are just messing with the lives of some people, be sorrowful, be very sorrowful, be also afraid, be very afraid, because hell is real. And some people are just be going, they're hitting the ground running, even though they don't think it's like a whole thing. Hlongwane ding. Uyada. Okay, whatever. This thing is giving me issues, problems, and fundamentals, but we're gonna move on. Everybody knew where the unruly kid came from because of the fact that ain't nobody else be teaching this unruly kid this behavior. If they're acting out, it's your responsibility as a dad and a mom to basically fix them, patch it up. You add sellotape on that. You put it together with sticky tape. Otherwise, everybody's gonna laugh at you for being the laughing stock of the village. Why? Because why is your kid so whack? Like, why is your kid so whack? That's what's good. Except today, don't nobody consider it whack when kids are a particular way, because literally the collective of them are whack. Hey guys, you're like Michael Jackson out just singing Billie Jean. The kid is not my son. The kid is the teacher's son. The kid is the principal's son. The kid is the next door neighbor babysitter's son. The kid is not my son. He was more like a surrogate. I don't know what I did. I was not trying to be a mama, but it was nice to be pregnant. Cause isn't that what people do when they get older? People always told me, be careful of these kids. They're gonna expect you to be all responsible and stuff. But my mama never told me that I gotta raise my child right, cause even she didn't do it. My teacher was my mom, hey, and now everybody's expecting me to be responsible with this little bambino. But the kid is not my son. That's you, Billie Jean. Look at that. Nasty. Anyway, whatever, so out here dealing with these Billie Jean parents all over the streets, district denying their babies because ain't nobody see that the outcome of this like nefariousness, this evilness in the child is literally your fault. It's you. Like, you done did it. But these random parents out here delegating parenting to some like teachers of which some of them don't even have their own children. Like, I'm sorry, when these people go to like teaching school, it's not actually med school, elective section of which is pediatrics. And it's also not like child psychology, like type childhood stages of development, early childhood development, Freudian methodologies of penis envy and castration anxiety. All up in your grill now. These are not psychologists or psychiatrists specializing in childhood development, and neither are they medical doctors specializing in pediatrics. They are teachers specializing in enabling growing children to learn. So therefore, it is not their responsibility to teach the psychological principles that build a child, that they might be honorable members of society. They don't go to teaching school for all that. Maybe if you hand your child over to like a psychiatrist that you're gonna pay $1 million to raise it, it might come out alright. If at all that psychiatrist has got the same moral virtues as you. But when you expect like teachers, especially when you're that like broke millennial that don't have enough money to be sending your kid to some extreme school, yeah, no, you're basically setting them up for failure, and is that not what's going down? Like, our parents have been, for a minute, giving us over to teachers to be taught, but you see, there was a time when there was no difference between our teachers and our parents. Now there is. Let's move to the next part.